Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shonen and Chill, episode number 15. I am joined, of course, by Oceaniz,
Hello.
and we're here to talk about some Japanese comic books.
Yes, some Japanese comic books and also Jujutsu Kaisen maybe eventually,
At some point.
potentially.
At some
Yeah.
point, you
Don't
know.
bet on it though. We're kind of lukewarm on it, right? Like it's
Yeah, well,
not.
I've never been too big on the series, but it seems like
Yeah.
it's heading in the right direction, so that's good.
Yeah, like I hated it, but then the anime got popular and I thought, you know what? I can make money off of this. So I fake liking it now.
Yeah, fake Jujutsu Kaisen fan now that the anime is big.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Proud
gotta
fake
cash in.
fan.
Gotta cash in.
Gotta cash them all.
Hold your
But
Jujutsu Kaisen stocks and sell at the right moment.
exactly. All right. Do we want to go to our usual top three then?
Yes, let's go ahead and jump into the top threes. What'd you have this week?
Uh, Spot number one is Jujutsu Kaisen because I'm just that much of a fake fan. Spot number two is My Hero Academia because I'm actually a fake fan. And spot number three is Fandom Seer actually
Oh,
because recency bias and it's pretty good.
okay, that's actually my identical top three this week. We
Oh
have the
my,
exact
oh
same
my
one.
God, bro, we're
Perfect.
linking.
Okay,
The,
so
the,
should we go into the top threes at the end and talk a little bit about the extraneous stuff first, or should we close with the extraneous stuff?
no, I think we can let people cook a bit. Let's start with the
Okay.
extraneous stuff.
All right. So how'd you feel about Mashle this week?
Good. I really like Mashle this week. It probably would have to be either my number four or my number five.
I am
It's
pretty
just
similar. I like the way they're going. It's getting a little
Mhm.
bit more serious. I feel like it's been
Mhm.
trending that way for a long time, and I feel like we've been commenting on it every single week. But the fact that we're in like a tournament arc with set rules, because Mashal has very much been like up to this point, every event has mostly just been a couple chapters to both begin and then
Mhm.
close out whatever conflict is going on. This looks
Yep.
like we're going to walk into a bit of a longer running arc than the past few, so that's good. I
Mhm.
like it.
Yeah, like I thought it was great that we got to see like that classic tournament arc setup where you also have Harry Potter antagonize Mash before the event starts. I thought that really reminded me of just like classic shonen.
I don't know if this is
Uh,
bad of me. I literally don't know that character's name. I have been calling him Harry Potter ever since he showed up. Like,
I
even in
don't know his
conversation
name
about the series
either.
off the air. Like, if this is not a running Shonen and Chill joke, I don't know his name.
Yeah, no, me neither. I think it's some weird name as well. I remember not liking his name when I actually heard it. So Harry Potter it is,
Harry
because
Potter it is.
that's who he is, like literally.
It
He's
really
just
does look just like him.
he's literally just Harry Potter if he had the personality of J.K. Rowling. Oops. Ah, already got political. Can't believe
Oh
it.
my god. Well, save that for the My Hero segment, because boy, that's going to get political.
But but yeah, I thought that what we got on the term dark was great. The panel where like the entire sequence where everyone's like, "Oh, you have to run from these dreadnoughts because they're immune to magic." And this first test is all about like, can you make a good judgment calls when you're in an impossible situation? Only to be followed by Mash beating the shit out of one of them
Just
was so
absolutely tossing
satisfying.
one. It was so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Also, Mash spoke to his muscles, which I always think is such a funny thing because I
Yes,
feel like
they
he's
they
done that
reassured
before.
him after Harry Potter was mean to him.
Damn, I wish back when I was getting bullied, my muscles could have been like, "Hey, bro, don't worry about it."
Also, their names are Kevin, Tom, Mike, Kim, and Yamada.
It's like the most random ass assortment of names. Okay, the first few ones are like Western, but then the last one's what? Yamato?
Yamada,
Yeah,
Yamada.
Yamada. That's very much not a Mike type name.
No, it's not Tom, Mike, and Kevin.
I wonder. No, I assume they wouldn't change names for the Western
Well, it's
release.
gag names. They might just to make it make more sense.
Could be, but I mean, the assortment of Kevin, Mike, Tom, and Yamada isn't exactly. I don't know. Nothing springs to mind. My first thought was like, oh, it's like some band. You know how in a lot of cartoons, if there's a group of four, they're often named after the Beatles.
Right.
But I can't think of any band that I know of that included a guy named Yamada.
Yeah, I think these are just generic names.
I guess, but
I don't know. Yamada is not one, but that's like a isn't that like a tech company or something or like a not a
Are you
car
thinking of
company, but they make
uh
something.
there is a there's an electric music company called Yamaha,
Yeah,
but not
Yamada
Yamada.
Manufacturing Corporation.
What do they do?
They bring the Yamada brand to the world by offering value and products that contribute to the. Oh God, they manufacture engine parts centering on oil pumps and water pumps, transmission hydraulic control parts, and the steering components centering in steering columns.
I see. So what you're telling me is that MASH runs on fossil fuels.
I that would make sense. Technically, yes, because he's the only one in this world that doesn't have magic. So everyone else is an electric car, and Mash is running on oil.
Oh my god, that's why they have to defeat him.
Right, because
Because
he's gonna ruin the environment.
his actual ability is climate change magic.
The global warming technique.
We didn't even manage a single series before getting deeply political.
It was inevitable anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
But as usual
But
with
yeah,
Mash, there's not that much for me to say about it. At least it was good. It was good stuff. I enjoy it.
yeah, yeah. Like I think my biggest issue with MASH is just really that there isn't much to say about it. Like I was writing a video on it the other day, and I was like, man, this video is going to be like 3 minutes long because
Yeah, I
like
mean, it is what it
it's
is. I
fun.
I enjoy it, but it's just hard. You can't. There's not. It's not the same as Jujutsu Kaisen with like 38 levels of foreshadowing, and you have to look at the specific way that a character is turning in one panel, and then realize it was from 30 chapters ago and shit. It's just Harry Potter punch good, and I love it.
Haha, but what you fail to analyze is the fact that Mash is overpowered, and who else is overpowered? Gojo. Therefore, this is just what Gojo's doing in this
This
stupid
is where the
cube.
prison realm goes.
He gets reborn as Mash.
He's just in the Mashle universe fucking around right now somewhere.
The final opponent of the tournament is just gonna be Satoru Gojo, who uses curse magic.
Oh
It's
god.
insane. It's insane though. Most series could probably benefit from just having Gojo in them.
Absolutely they could. I can't think of one that wouldn't. That's how
Exactly.
great he is.
All right. I suppose this is the time where we move on from Mashle.
Okay. How about Undead Unluck?
Uh, I kind of feel like a broken record, but man, I do not know what's happening. Like it is
Yeah.
weird.
It's just we've gotten a lot of comments that are like, I can't believe you can't follow it. It all makes perfect sense. And I'm like, maybe I need to like bulk reread the chat, like the arc that's going on right now or something, because my
Yeah,
god.
probably. Yeah, because like, okay, I get now that where we're at, they're like still going for like that one big contract of that thing called Autumn, and this has just been for that purpose. This entire like mini arc with the mangaka.
Right.
But that's only dawned on me now because only now I remembered that Autumn existed at the end of this chapter.
Yeah, I mean they
And
they mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I forgot that they were like actively in battle with it.
Mhm.
So I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's weird. I gotta say, it's with Undead Unluck. As much as I enjoyed like the middle bulk of it, I'm starting to get a case of schimosis from it.
Definitely. I had to
Yeah,
reread this chapter like two or three times because I was like, I am just flicking pages.
yeah. I realized I was done with the chapter. And I was like, I just looked at the pretty pictures. Like that's it. So I had to reread as well. And yeah, like I don't doubt that it is fundamentally not that complicated, but when you're not that invested, and when you're not that when you don't have that much like brain power to put towards just this one series you also read for 2 minutes a week, I don't know, to me that often like is the big hurdle. It's also why I struggle with like monthly manga, especially because like man, I just do not have the brain space for this stuff
Yeah, to
sometimes.
hold it. Yeah, and like they keep throwing characters and names at you that are like not important. Like
Hmm.
Unseen. Oh my god, Unseen died. Okay. I didn't know he was there. because
he
his
lived up
power
to
is
his
to not
name.
know he's there. It doesn't matter. Oh my
They
god.
li- they literally went, "Oh God, we killed off the character that never appeared because he was literally invisible."
Because you can't see
No.
him. Oh my goodness, he's just legs. And then it's like, all right, we have to go fight the actual character now.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Like, I mean, it's a fun ride. The pictures still look good, and the fights are still fun. But yeah, this definitely needs a reread. And I hope
Yeah,
that, yeah, I hope
weekly
that by
might
the
not just
time,
be the format for it. I don't know.
yeah, and I kind of hope that by the time we get back to like more coherent stuff, that coherent stuff will be so motivating that I'll actually have the motivation to do a proper reread.
That's fair.
Yeah, because like obviously, is if we go back into normal stuff and it's kind of like middling, I don't know how motivated I'll be to reread this arc again and be like, okay, I'm going to use all of my brain now. I'm going to connect my synapses to the hive mind to understand the deep intricacies of Andy bleeding in this specific pattern. Like I don't know. I don't know if the effort is really worth it because that's what we talked about last week, right? Where it's like it feels like there's more effort involved in understanding what's going on than what understanding would actually grant us in return in terms of
Yeah,
like
it definitely feels a little like I could put all that work into understanding it and then be like, okay, and
yeah,
then not
yeah.
get that's it.
Hey, everything's better than that first chapter, so I
Hey,
suppose
you know
beggars can't
what?
be
That's
choosers.
that's a fact.
Yeah. Right. What else is on the
All right,
agenda?
did you read The Elusive Samurai chapter 2?
I did. I think I liked this chapter more than last week. I say I think because a lot of it was again instilling me with a certain sense of schimosis. Like I don't know. Maybe it's just that I don't vibe with it how it's structured. Maybe it's how the pages are separated. I can't pinpoint it right now off the top of my head, but I do struggle paying attention while reading this manga specifically.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
got I got
really.
the skimmy wimmies real bad in chapter 1, which is it's a pilot chapter, so that's gonna happen
Yeah.
because it's like six. But my God, it was just like 60 pages of every single page was a new person with a new
Hmm.
name from a new province, and he did this and that with this shogunate. I was like, oh my God, this chapter was a
Yeah.
lot more focused. I liked it a lot more. Um,
Hmm.
we're getting like a battle chapter next week, I guess, which is cool because that's pretty much a
Hmm.
first for this.
Yep.
Um, Also, I like the art of him being like the a gambling demon. It was a pretty
Hmm.
cool image. It was a good panel.
Yeah.
Um, it hasn't really sold me yet. I guess. I mean, it's chapter
Hmm.
2, so I can't say that many series sell me by chapter 2. But like, I don't know. I read it every week, and I'm never like, oh, I'm interested to see where it goes next week. I'm just kind of like, oh, I will read it next week when it comes out,
Hmm.
and we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. I kind of feel similarly about it. It's I don't know. Like it's just hard for me to get interested in it. Partially again because the setup is so non-standard, but also not like immediately like engaging enough. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because that first chapter was so odd to read that now I'm having trouble diving back into it. But it's definitely not something that I like consciously look forward to in Jump yet. But as you said, it's very early on. You know, first manga arcs tend to suck. Like
Yeah,
that's just
generally.
how it is, unless you're Naruto, which you just blow your load in the
Yeah,
first.
Naruto, you just front load, and then everything in the end
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy. You can literally watch The Land of Waves as like its own anime season and be happy with it. Like if you don't care about big resolutions, it's a perfectly fine story on its own, really.
Yep, Land of the Waves. I have always like argued Land of the Waves could have been an entire little like miniseries on its own,
Hmm.
and that would have been it, and it would have been great, and I would like it more than a lot of Jump series anyway, even if it was just that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's why when I recommend Naruto to people, which I rarely do because, dear God, it's long. But
Yeah,
when I do, I just tell them just treat the first 20 episodes as one season of anime and see if you get into it. And like, if you're not into it by the time the Land of Waves is over, like, there's no point because that's
yeah,
pretty much the best part.
yeah. It's kind of like Bleach with the Soul Society. Like if you get through the Soul Society and you're not chill on it yet, just stop
Or you can be like me and love Soul Society and then just drop it.
for
I
no
didn't.
apparent reason.
I didn't drop it. I did the thing where I just don't continue it, while
So
I
you're
keep telling
you're you're
myself I
giving it
will.
the Dr. Stone.
I'm giving it to Dr. Stone. I'm giving it to Haikyuu. I'm giving it to Hajime no Ippo. I'm giving it what I give most series. But for what it's worth, I enjoyed a lot. I enjoyed Soul Society a lot.
Well,
Like
that's
if
good.
yeah, I know people have been kind of on this show also hearing on my saga with Bleach. So the like current update is Soul Society was cool. I wish Ichigo's Bankai was like more unique and not just a power up. Uh, but aside from that, goatness, rawness, kinography.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay,
Uh,
so the new series, we got a new series this week. Did you read it by chance?
no, I decided I did not have the patience for 50 pages of just something,
That's
because
fair.
it didn't
So
really grab me.
the new series is called I Tell C. I did read it.
Uh-huh.
It is very weird. So it's a detective story where you follow these two guys, and then there's a murder, obviously, that they're investigating, and they assume they're talking about how it was a stalker or something like that. And this
Hmm.
guy is getting stalked by this crazy girl, only to find
Hmm.
out that the girl is a detective. And the way
Okay.
that she solves cases is by falling in love with the perpetrators and then stalking them.
Hmm. Okay.
So the entire thing is that she was apparently kidnapped when she was young, and she fell in
Hmm.
love with the kidnapper, but then got away, and they never found the kidnapper. So
Okay.
she's like has some weird mental condition where she falls in love with the concept of being a criminal. So like she goes to a
Okay.
like she went to the murder scene, and the reason she knew this guy was the murderer is because she smelled his shampoo. And then she smelled the shampoo again when she was around him because she's in love with him, so she's like obsessed with everything about him. And then he gets caught, and that's like the shtick of it is that she's so creepy, stalking people that are criminals that they willingly go to jail afterward.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was very odd. I didn't hate it, but I don't really
Hmm.
like it. I This is one of those ones where I'm like, this is a very unique premise, and I think it'll be dead in 15 chapters.
I mean, it definitely sounds like axed before the next year.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not because the main character is a very cute lady who fawns over boys, and I mean that's what more can you ask for? But
Uh-huh.
it a lot of red flags reading the first chapter. This does not strike me as a long runner.
Well, I haven't read it, but from your description, it does definitely it because how do I say this? It's like when a start to a series is weird and odd, it seems like they fall into two categories, where it's the odd that lends itself to expansion, like something like Mashle or Undead Unluck, or the odd where okay, this is probably almost too weird to remain like a main thing. So either it has to transform itself or die. Um, like okay, actually, Undead Unluck maybe falls more into that
Yeah,
category now
I
that I
think
think
that's
about it.
probably more Undead Unluck than the other ones.
Yeah, yeah, but this definitely feels like a example of the latter because that like I don't know how far you can take that, right? In terms of like a long running story, you almost yeah, I mean, you almost have to change the series if you wanted to make it into a long form story. And I mean, I don't know. Obviously, anyone can have thoughts on this how they want, but I don't think it's necessarily a great thing that some series have to transform themselves to be successful. I think for some series, it's fine that they just run 20 chapters and then they have a semi uh, satisfying conclusion. You know, like it's not every series is like Time Paradox Ghost Rider, where there's a whole bunch of potential and it all gets squandered because
Right.
talking about plagiarism is bad apparently. But
Right.
yeah. Okay, so I gotta say I'm not super gassed to check that one out now after hearing about it. So
Yeah, I'll probably read it because there's not too much that I don't read, but I certainly am not enthusiastic about getting hype about the next chapter. or anything like
Yeah.
that. If anybody that's watching this did read it and really enjoyed it, just let us know in the comments because I'm interested to see your takes on it, and if maybe I'm looking at it in a bad light or something. I don't know, but it was just very weird and not in a good way. Weird.
Yeah. I mean, just to the audience, like you can always tell us your takes on things that you've read that we might have not read or we might have read with less investment than you, because at the end of the day, this is a group project. We just end up being the guys recording, you know.
Right. Absolutely.
um, what else is there? Is either of us reading Build King?
I have stopped.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I,
Someone in the comments last week was like, if you go through chapter 9, I think you'll like it again. And I did, and I don't still.
oh,
I mean,
oh.
like it. I think my issues with it have gotten a little better. Like
Mm-hmm.
every single page is not 410 speech bubbles, but now it's
That's
just
good.
like half the pages are.
Okay.
And I think I'm so burnt out on like the beginning and not caring that it's really hard for me to want to jump back in and be like, it's gonna be okay this time. And
Okay.
it's just average, right? Like it needs to get good if it wants to bring me back. It can't go from bad to mediocre. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's disappointing. Like today, while I was reading the chapters, I was scrolling through, and I did not even stop to look at Bill King for the first time. Because all the other weeks I was like, should I not? But this week I forgot about it until I was scrolling through it again, and I saw it, and I was like, damn. Like we were actually
Yeah,
excited
and I
about
don't
this.
like take pleasure in it being bad. This is not a Samurai 8 situation where I'm like rubbing my grubby paws in glee. Like it sucks that it's not that good, but I got nothing for it, man.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything left before we get to the
I
top
read a
three,
few
or
other stories. I don't know if you read anything else though.
uh, trying to remember if I do. I don't think so.
We got Magu-chan, we got Yozakura Family, Sakamoto Days, Doctor Stone, and that's about it.
Yeah, no, I read none of those.
All right then. So let's jump to Phantom Seer. Uh, good. Like
Good.
real good. We kind of talked about the revolving inner cast last week, and they brought the
Mm-hmm.
Tengu guy back. They kind of
Mm-hmm.
swapped out the fire guy. They brought the Tengu guy back in. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like the setup that we've got. You know, the Senju's got the her little like squad of whatever you want to call it, conceiving hands. That's what they're called. Um,
Yes.
and we see them, so we know the names at least of the few of the ones we've seen so far. Plus, there's two we have not seen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the premise for this next chapter is super creepy. It's like
Yeah.
a creepy looking old school dollhouse building with dolls, and everyone's possessed by them. And I like this because it can keep these kind of like horror elements while not losing its edge as an action series. Like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of stuff that wants to be very horror based. Like I have this problem generally with Resident Evil, except for like the seventh one, where it feels
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, this is scary, but I'm also like a super elite military guy and I have a lot of guns and stuff, and like it's not that scary because I feel confident in my ability to defend myself.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't really have that problem. Like I don't think any of this creepy stuff we see is going to beat Iori or anything, you know, but like it's just the way it's presented is super off-putting and scary, and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's real good. We got a little bit of closure with the I don't know, what was she possessed by? Was she like a fox? The girl.
Wasn't she fused with like a phantom thing?
Yeah, but it was some kind of animal. It was like a raccoon or something. I don't remember what it
Oh,
was.
wasn't a kitsune a mythic
It
fox?
was a fox. Okay, okay.
I think
Yeah.
so.
So they did say that it's still kind of there. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe what I had mentioned last time will end up happening, that she'll be a little team member in the future. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but there's at least a door open for her to maybe come back in the future, which I like. I enjoyed her. I liked her.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Like I definitely think one thing that Phantom Seer does really well is it knows how to play to its strengths. You know, it introduced a rival organization of sorts with with the archetypical, antagonist. You have a big guy, you have a small girl, you have a cool hot guy, and you have the not unseen ones. Um, and it launched into its next arc investigating that. But despite that, with the dolls and with that whole setup, it remains within that framework of horror. And I think that that is a great indication that Phantom Seer really knows where it shines. And where it shines is the depiction of scary shit. That panel with the one girl holding a doll of herself and her face for one panel turning into like a weird grimace that you only see from the side. That's great. That's
Mm-hmm.
very good horror shit. And I'm excited to see how that will interlink with the Battle Shonen aspect of it. And
Yeah, it's great at it in general. I think basically all of its designs have been good, and the
mhm,
concepts of its horror so far have been good. There's nothing very like generic or kind of boring. It's not all like it's a zombie in the house or something. All the concepts of like the mirror dimension and beckoning hands and conceiving hands and all that kind of stuff with like genuinely scary monsters. Because a lot of the times in these kind of series, you'll get your demons and they're just like dudes that have maybe an extra eye or something.
mhm,
No, all the monsters in this, even the human-looking ones, are freaky in a good way.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. I definitely think this is also part of Kento Matsura's just fantastic artistry. Like I love this guy's art and his character designs as well. I remember that was one of the things that I loved the most about Tokyo Shinobi Squad, and to see it return now with this horror edge is so satisfying because he has such a good grasp on like posing and the human anatomy. And of course, once you have a good grasp on something, you know how to distort it to great effect. And I definitely think that that's what we're seeing here. So yeah, I'm excited to where this arc goes next. I can kind of see this like leading into the first like big narrative plot arc because I mean, so far it's very much been Monster of the Week.
Hmm.
Um, I suppose this fight with the Doctor was kind of the first proper big one. Yeah, so I'm excited. It's kind of like the curse that you have with all new series. You're kind of just every week you're kind of just sitting here with like the thought, this was cool. I can't wait to see when this shit gets serious, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of what we do
Mashle
with
even is
Mashle.
sort of in that vein right now, despite being a lot longer than Phantom Seer. It's kind of at the point where we're still like, this was enjoyable. I can't wait until it gets even more than that. you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, I mean, I don't think this is like a point of criticism or whatever because it's like it's just it's just how the series is. It's young. It has to
Yeah, I mean
grow and
it's the
define
whole
itself.
industry is that way. You can't nothing drops out of the gate on like chapter 5 and you're like, yeah, this is incredible. So,
Yeah, like that almost never happens, and you know, companies that try to bank on that happening almost always end up gutting their own lineup. If you think on stuff like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, who like started canceling any show that wasn't immediately successful.
mhm.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm really interested to see where Phantom Seer goes.
Yeah,
Because
and it's
man, if
nice
this
cuz
ever gets
Phantom Seer is definitely well, I won't say definitely, but I think we're out of the woods in
yeah,
cancellation fear. Not like it's doing well, I guess is what I'm
hmm
saying. We're at 20 chapters, so it passed that initial push of like, all right, you're dead in 12. Um,
hmm
so I think once you hit 40, you're kind of pretty good to go. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
so
Generally, generally, if by the time you get your third volume announced, you aren't canceled yet, you're probably safe.
yeah,
And we got its second volume announced this week, so I'm assuming the third is soon to follow.
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I've been hearing nothing but praise for it. I haven't looked at exact sales numbers, but from what I remember, it's doing pretty well. So
yeah.
that's good.
Okay. Okay. I suppose we can't stall any longer. It's time for the big two.
All right, so let's do My Hero first, as it did rank second this week.
Uh huh.
Go ahead, Mr. My Hero.
Okay. I really like this chapter, save for one thing, and I'll
Okay.
get to that in a second. But for most of it, I thought it was great. I thought, you know, MHA is always at its best when it takes that whole Hero Society thing and it puts it in a sort of gritty, realistic way without being overly edgy about it. Like, I sound like a broken record. I say that all the time whenever we get even the slightest crumb of societal world building, right? But I really, really believe that it's one of its biggest strengths. And this chapter kind of exemplifies that. It just kind of goes into the whole, hey, poverty and, drug abuse and crime, all of these things still exist in a hero society. And some of them are, made worse through it. Like, I love the detail that the only reason that Hawks got an Endeavor plushie is because it's the only one they could afford.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, I saw someone bring that up where it's like, so All Might, in a way, because of his like gilded status of all his merch and stuff, is kind of the hero of the upper middle class, and heroes like Endeavor become the icons of people in the lower income groups, just because you create that division of the monetary accessibility to these heroes and to partaking in their hype and their fandom. And I think that's a super small thing. I don't think this will ever matter, but it is still cool to see, right? It's one of those things where I look at it and I'm like, I'm glad that this is a sort of a problem that exists, even if it won't matter, right?
Right, and
And of course,
I don't know. I mean, nothing is gonna like matter on the sense of like, damn, I want to destroy the whole world because I got priced out of the All Might plushie. But like,
yeah.
it's such a good way to keep building up on how like people love to portray a hero in a story as like pretty infallible.
Mm-hmm.
And my hero's always been pretty good about striking like a semi balance with that. But early
Mm-hmm.
on, especially, heroes were super glamorous. Like there's news crews everywhere, and
Mm-hmm.
their sporting events get put on national TV, and the whole world watches and all this stuff. And it's interesting now because you're kind of diving into All Might wanted to be like the guy, for
Mm-hmm.
everyone, and it's pretty clear that he wasn't because there's nothing
Mm-hmm.
that like I'm sure he didn't set the prices on his plushies or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a Reddit post that said this, and I thought it was very insightful. Is that it kind of highlights that there were all of these people, that are at risk for becoming, thugs or drug addicts or whatever that needed a hero and they couldn't get one. Because it's like when Hawk
Mm-hmm.
said that, like, I got that little Endeavor toy and everything, and um, my awful dad got caught by Endeavor, and I have my little Endeavor plush, and heroes kind of became a reality that they
Mm-hmm.
weren't before.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just neat to see that, like, All Might tried to craft this legacy and, make superheroics this big thing. And the way that the hero society is so, like, commercial and capitalistic and everything, it's even doing his best, he couldn't overcome it. Because
Mm-hmm.
there are all these people that needed positive influence in their life and needed an icon to look up to, and All Might was a foreign object to them compared to someone
Mm-hmm.
like Endeavor, who had something as simple as you can take him to the toy store and you can get an Endeavor little plushie
Mm-hmm.
and not have to spend $500 on the XXX All Might edition super elite version like that people like Midoriya had, because he had the upper middle class life. His room was covered in All Might posters and toys and
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff. And it's like, but are those the kids that needed him the most?
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, like, when I say it doesn't matter, I don't mean in the sense of, oh, it's just fluff, but I mean in the sense of, as you said, there's never going to be a character whose main motivation is going to directly attack this insular aspect of hero society. I mean, there could be. I
Next
just
arc, it's
don't
coming
think there
up.
will.
The Collector.
The
He got priced out
collector.
of the Elite All Might plushie when he was 9.
I
It's the
couldn't
only
get
piece his
my.
collection is missing, and the only one in the world is the one that Midoriya got when Night Eye died.
I can't believe I got tricked out of my SSR All Might Golden Age. Oh my god. Hero Gotcha absolutely
Oh,
exists in that
100% it
universe.
exists. You know
Yeah.
what series has gotcha in it?
What?
Fucking Boruto.
Oh, of
It has a
course.
ninja gotcha.
Of course.
And Boruto keeps pulling SSR versions of his dad and getting very mad about it. I wish I was making that up, but I'm not.
No, I know. I remember. I banished Boruto stuff from my brain. Oh, man, like This is completely off topic, but fuck it. I'm researching for like a video on the Akatsuki, and it is so hard trying to differentiate what info is canon to Naruto and what info is canon to Boruto, because some of this shit is so like intertwined that it's impossible to figure out where I should steer. Like I'm
Yeah, that sounds
inevitably
like a
going to.
mess.
Oh man, like in Naruto, they never explain Hidan's immortality because they kind of didn't need to. It's like, oh, he worships a weird god, so he's immortal because of it. Like, okay, I'm fine with that. It's ninja magic, sure. And then Boruto tries to come up with an explanation, and it's like, it's a non-explanation. So it's like, oh, the cult did experiments on him, and that made him immortal somehow. And it's like, oh, okay, like I didn't need this explanation. I didn't. I didn't benefit from that.
Yeah,
But
that's almost like a who cares
yeah,
kind of thing,
exactly.
Like, okay.
Exactly. But to get back on topic, because man, we're at any given point we're 2 sentences away from shitting on Boruto. It's
Yeah, it's
wonderful.
always the specter hovering in the background of this
Exactly.
series.
Every sentence we speak, we have Kishimoto's spirit behind us. Ooh, you better not mention how bad I got. Ooh, remember Kaguya?
You should have known.
Look, man, Kishimoto, like, get the bag, I guess.
Yeah, man, you know what? You stay on that grind. You get the bag no matter how miserable it is for everybody else. I respect it.
But yeah, so what I wanted to say about this chapter still is I love the page where when Hawk says that heroes became real to him and his toy comes to life and runs in front of him. That is like such a non My Hero visual. Like I can't remember the last time it played with, surrealist imagery like this in a way. And I think that's really sweet. It stuck out to me. It was like it made me do a double take and we're like, wait, that's cool. That's like weird and interesting. Do more of that, Hori, please. Um, and I also like that we got to see, like, just looking at the face in the crowd and see that there's much more diversity now in the sense of, oh, what do they feel about heroes? I thought it was weird that that one character in the crowd had like a close up of his hand, like enshrouded in some mechanic gauntlet. And I was like, what are you playing at, Hori? Who is this? And why
Who
does he
is
matter?
that is a little bit weird. Now that you say that, I just kind of figured
Yeah,
it was like a thing, but
like I don't know, why would he show that, right? Like it gets a close-up panel. He's like, oh, here the time of heroes might be over, and he's holding his hand, and you see like a glove that kind of looks like Deku's Air Force, and it's like, what the fuck is that about, Hori? Um, and yeah, I mean, Hawk's flashback was really brutal in a sense that most of flashbacks so far have not been, because a lot of the flashbacks we've seen so far, like the backstories of characters, have always been either overtly brutal, like the Shigaraki flashback, or they've been, Todoroki getting abused,
right.
or Toya. But they've always been kind of that sort of personal, within the family sort of suffering. And Hawks' backstory is similar, but the difference is that they are at the mercy of a much bigger problem, which is, poverty and, classism and whatnot, and of course his dad, which is also an interesting parallel to Endeavor. So that's interesting. That's definitely something I'm glad we have now. I also find it really funny how like Hawks' parents' quirk are both like not nowhere close to what Hawks has, but it still makes sense for him to develop the quirk that he did. Because did you catch the quirk of his parents? Because it's not brought up specifically.
No, I did not.
So Hawks' dad has wings, but they grow out of his armpits and they're really small. And you only see them in one panel, I believe, when he's shoving Hawks. And his mom, which is interesting because Hawks' dad specifically says, oh, I shouldn't rely on Tomiya's quirk, Tomiya being his mom. And his mom's quirk, and it's really easy to miss, but once you notice it, you can't unsee it. she has eyes floating around her. She has control over a bunch of floating eyeballs, which presumably is how she scouts out shit for Hawks' dad to steal. And that's what he means by relying on her quirk. Yeah, like go back to the chapter. It's really funny once you notice it.
Oh yeah, there's one panel where you can see them kind of close up.
Yeah, and it's funny because she has telekinetic control over some objects. His dad has wings, and so Hawks grew wings over which he has telekinetic control over. It's like, that's cool. I like
Yeah, I
that.
like that. His quirk is a
Yeah.
lot better than theirs.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of seen that, the whole singularity thing, where kids just keep getting stronger quirks as shit mixes. And I suppose this is the part where I mentioned a thing that I didn't like, and that's the resolution of the whole how they faked Genus's death thing.
Yeah, I almost wish they didn't even bother with that because I feel like you could have just not explained that, and I would have just been like, whatever. They faked his death. I don't care.
I just wish they could have committed to just saying it was a body that they stole from a morgue or something, and they did surgery to make it look like look like Genius or something like that. Because honestly, the explanation of it was me, but in a suspended death state, and Dobby took me into the morgue of the villa, but then Hawk stole me back. Isn't that cool? That is, I mean, it's a cool plan, but it's like it's so boring compared to what what the rest of the implications were. Because when Dobby sees Genus's body, the first thing he says is not, you've killed Genus. It's, you've killed somebody. It doesn't matter if it's Genus, your hands are dirty. And I thought that was such a wonderful setup because, even once Genus was alive, it still meant that there was ambiguity to Hawks' morality because he might have actually, stolen the body of a civilian, which is a pretty bad thing and something Dobby could have brought up against, the heroes. So to have it all boil down to, oh yeah, no, it was just like suspended death, like whatever, it feels boring and kind of lazy.
Well, it's
And
weird too because Dobby even says like, "Is that really him? Whatever. I don't care." But then in this
yeah,
chapter, they're like, "Yeah, it successfully tricked Dobby," but it was like Dobby didn't give a shit anyway.
yeah,
So who cares if you tricked him? He wasn't even trying to not get tricked.
yeah. And it's like, I don't know. It kind of undercuts Hawks's like moral ambiguity a bit
Yeah.
because it
Plus,
kind
it's
of
just one of those things where like, wow, that's really convenient that you had that at this exact
yeah,
moment, and that
yeah
nobody caught you stealing Genus's body back out.
off screen
Yeah. I mean,
before the
they try
war.
to. I think they try to save it a little bit with like Hawk saying, I think Twice was a good guy, and he
Hmm.
wasn't. He was just trying to do what he could, and Hawks did kill him, but it's like it's not the same because, yeah, killing people is bad, but like you were literally engaged in a giant war, and he probably could have killed
Hmm.
all your friends. So I feel
Yeah,
bad about it, but to some extent, it's not the same as like, yeah, I either axed some random low-level criminal and dressed him up to look like you, or I stole a corpse and we altered it. It's just
yeah.
not.
I
It's not the
mean,
same.
yeah. And the thing with Twice is, right, like I think with Twice you kind of get tricked into thinking it's more morally ambiguous than it really is because you like him, like, right? Like Twice is an adorable person and we love him. He's a wonderful character. But just from like a pragmatic point of view, he needed to go down. He straight up needed to because his power was one of the most dangerous assets for anyone to have.
Absolutely.
Because like, Shigaraki and Makia are both walking nukes, and Twice could have very reasonably mass produced them.
Hmm.
And that is a terrible asset. That is something you need to get rid of. So, you know, like, yes, Hawks is still an interesting character thanks to the fact that he did become friends with Twice and that there was that connection. And yes, there is still ambiguity there because, we like Twice. But it's very diminished because of this new edition, and I can't say I like it. It feels unsatisfying and kind of lazy.
Yeah,
So
it
I,
definitely feels like a way to make you go, "Oh, Hawks is still definitely a good guy only."
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he doesn't need that either, because like I don't know, him being a good guy was never prudent on if he's a good character or not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just how it is. I do like that they try to salvage it a bit by making Dobby seem smarter, because if the explanation had ended at, oh, it was genius in suspended death, that would have been terrible. But they're like, oh, Dobby ran DNA and he, hid the body. And it's like, okay, that that's okay. And
It's
the
just
fact that
still weird to me because Dobby was like, whatever, it doesn't matter who you kill. I don't care if it's not best genus because the point was to make you bloody your hands. But then he's like, all right, I need to get the crime lab on this. I need to get some swabs run. I need dental records matched. I need.
Dobby is just also a hobby biologist and
That was just for
forensics.
fun. Yeah, he
Yeah.
wasn't doing it to prove anything. He just was practicing his forensics.
Yeah, but I still think that makes me respect Dobby a bit more, because it seems like there is a brain behind all that bravado. And I think that's also enhanced by the fact that he sought out Hawks's mom and made her confess, or at least that he had people find her, since it's assumed that Dobby sent them, whoever it was. And I like that it doesn't completely ruin the mystery of Dobby and Hawks, because now comes the question: how did Dobby know about Hawks's mom, right? How did he know which terrified lady to threaten into giving information about her family?
Why was nobody
Because
guarding
that's
Hawks's mom when he was on this like double agent super mission for the government?
yeah, it's like, yeah, I just want to know more about Dobby, and I hope that whatever we get on him and his connection to government information, because he seems to have one, I hope that it's more interesting than what we got on Genist. Also, I have a new thing that causes me anxiety, which is Hawks just going to get his wings back?
Kind of looking
Jorge
that
does it
way.
again. It is, but my good friend Ian pointed out to me that in the Pro Hero arc, Hawks loses pretty much his entire wings, like all of it, save the stems, and it takes him 2 days to regrow them. And this has happening 2 days after the war, and his wings seem to have not regrown pretty much at all. Like, just looks like he has the charred stems tucked under his shirt. So I'm hoping that he doesn't get his wings back. Because, like,
Maybe it just takes
man,
him a long time to get them back or something. I don't know.
yeah, because
I hope
man,
not, but
if he just gets them back, then if he doesn't get them back, if Deku remains unscathed at the end of it all, if Gran Torino survives, we're kind of approaching the point of, okay, what was the point? Like, what was the point of doing this like brutal war arc?
yeah, there's only
If
so much like symbolic meaning before after a while I need some tangibility too.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like you know, it's not because we're sadists.
Oh god, yeah. That was a comment
It's
that, and not to pick on any commenters because I love you guys, but man, getting called like a sick sadist for wanting a fictional character to be removed from the story was a new one for me.
well, sadism is defined as the desire to hurt other living beings. Deku and Gran Torino aren't alive and will never be alive.
They are not real.
So, yeah, they're not real. So, like, I'm sorry. You can't be sadist towards a dead piece of tree bark with lines on it. Um, but anyway,
And it's
yeah,
weird. It's like I don't say that I want Deku to suffer because I'm sitting over here like, yes, yes, agony. Yeah, it's just because like he does a lot of really stupid shit and he has a tendency to get away with it, and I would like him to not get away with it quite as much.
yeah,
He
like
needs to
it makes
mature a
this
little bit because the results of his actions need to start impacting him.
yeah, it makes the story more interesting. The forces and conflicts that cause a story to become more engaging and more compelling are not always good things. In fact, most of the time they're bad things. It's kind of like when people I remember oh, this is like an anecdote, but I remember there was this girl I was dating who was she was adamant about that she would not watch anything that had like conflict in it. Like, not even violent conflict, but just conflict. And I remember ever since then, I've kind of gone of the opinion that conflict is necessary for good storytelling. Like something, some part of someone has to disagree with someone else,
Yeah,
and
how do you
that's how
even?
you get a
What do
story.
you do if you don't have? Is it just like a romantic comedy where there's no like other guy after the girl? It's like what do you even do?
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. And I feel like that's kind of the sentiment that's often echoed also online when people get upset that you wish certain things happen to certain characters. It's like, these are not real people. They're fake. And our stake in their well-being is, at least for me and I think for you as well, is intertwined with our interest in the story being more compelling, and
Right. It's a
consequences.
narrative thing. It's not. Yeah. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with them as people because they aren't people. It's
Hmm.
for the sake of the world narrative as a whole.
Yeah. Like, but I mean, this is just another vestige of people putting a lot of importance and a lot of personal stuff into the shit they read and watch, which, is just a general problem.
Yeah. Speaking of
Uh,
that, how do you feel about the online wave that has started today, basically, that Hawks is an abuse apologist?
oh God, I hadn't even seen this.
Yeah, that Hawks basically is just fine with Endeavor's horrible actions and has excused him.
Uh, I don't know. Like, I guess if Hawks were real, I'd be upset, but he's not.
Yeah, I
Uh,
also feel like we need more than him just being like, "Hey, Endeavor might die." To think that,
yeah,
because he makes a point in this to say that he doesn't necessarily know that it's real. Doesn't he say like
that,
if Davi was telling the truth, basically?
yeah, that. And he also says that it's probably different now, and it has like the shots of Shoto and Endeavor and their interactions. So, you know, what I'm thinking is his position is, I don't know if Dobby's telling the truth because Dobby's a fucked up mummy of a man. Um, and even if he is telling the truth, he's telling the truth from 15 years ago. Things might be different now. And while that doesn't absolve Endeavor, it does mean that Hawks's responsibilities towards the Todoroki family now are not just as simple as, oh, fuck Endeavor because he's an abuser, right?
Right.
Um, and again, like, man, none of this is real, right? Like, I'm a big advocate to letting fiction affect you, right? To give yourself to these constructed narratives because that's good. It's good to have an emotional range that can extend itself to the fake world. But you need to know when to make the barrier, right? Like,
Yeah, at some point it becomes unhealthy. And I
exactly.
don't
It
mean
becomes,
I'm not trying to be belittling with that because a lot of people will say something like that and mean it as in like a rude or condescending way, but like you can't get so much of your emotional energy tied up into if an author made a fictional character you like not take as hard line of a stance on abuse as you might like.
mhm.
It's just it's not good for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, uh, but the MAJ fandom especially is great at doing this. They always get very, very emotional about things that are like have some perspective, right? You know, they harassed the My Hero translator into going private as well over that one
Over
Shoto
the
line.
the Shoto thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which apparently wasn't even his doing. It's just that some people started getting it into their head that it was him trying to bring in his bias against Endeavor, and it's like, you don't know.
Also,
Like,
the dudes for like two things is like the translator. I said dude, it might be a girl. I don't know, but
the
the
translator
translator.
is
Go ahead.
yeah, the translator is a guy.
Oh, he's a guy. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, the guy. Like, what makes you think he's got that kind of time? Like the turnaround on this kind of stuff is crazy. I guarantee you, my man is not looking at these chapters and being like, all right, how can I edit this to
Yeah,
make
like
it the
it's
way and plus like he's a professional and if it came out that he was editing the stories he would lose his job.
yeah, it's like the way I've understood it. And of course, when something like this happens, the entire space is just filled with people making claims about the industry and trying to inform people, whether for good faith or bad faith is whatever. But from what I've understood, the issue seems to have happened on the level of the editorial department, as in they misplaced some old line into the printing, basically. That seems to be what's kind of coming through. And like, again, at the end of the day, and I said this yesterday as well, at the end of the day, we are consumers or customers, because consumer is kind of an icky word, but customers complaining about the quality of a product to its distributor. That is fundamentally, should be an unemotional affair. It should be as easy as, hey, this is not congruent with your quality standards, please change it. Anything beyond that is just internet ranting, and I think that that's not productive, because also the thing that always gets me at these kind of things is if you go overboard, if you start adding the translators and the letterers and you start spewing vile shit, all you're doing is you're putting the issue onto the same level as just internet shitstorms, and you're ironically just decreasing the likelihood of it getting fixed, because now it's just the thing people freaked out of and not an actual genuine consumer complaint. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I've made my peace with the fact that the MHA fandom is very volatile and very emotional about things that just should not be, realistically.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's dismissive of me, but at the same time, the single most important moment in MHA does not matter nearly as much as the most insignificant thing in real life, right? Because it's fake, it's a product, it's a story. You can give yourself to it, you can be emotional about it, but man, know when you hit the brakes, right?
Yeah,
Like,
there
it's
has to be
frustrating.
a limit to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just. I think it's amplified so much by like. I don't want to keep harping on this aspect of it, but yeah, like these people are generally very young.
Yes.
Not to be belittling, and then like it's so amplified by the spaces that they occupy that like it becomes a big deal, and I don't know. I just can't. I can't.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing that is probably going to keep happening, because there's always a supply of people on the internet who are very easily upset about things that don't really matter. And for the love of
Yeah.
God, don't take this in the. I just realized while I was saying that I kind of sounded like, these stupid SJWs and whatnot. Don't take me in that context. Trans
Rampant
rights, by the
anti
way.
SJW.
Yeah, trans rights,
Oceans.
by the way. Don't misquote me. Trans rights, LGBTQ rights, just fucking don't mistake what I just said as like, oh, people are always online are always upset about unreasonable things. Like, no, some things matter. Just most things in the fictional world don't
Yeah,
really matter.
most of the time in fiction it doesn't matter as much as you think it does. We'll just
Yeah,
leave it at that.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a product complaint, and a valid one at that, because that translation is a mistake. But if you make it anything more than that, you are the problem, basically. Like, that's the gist of it. It kind of sounds harsh, but
Is what it
that's
is.
how it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, that was enough spice for MHA, I'd say. What do
All
you
right.
think?
So let's jump into number one of the week.
Yes.
Every week. There's
Every
no
week.
fanfare needed anymore. Let's talk
I mean,
Jujutsu Kaisen.
it was so good.
It was so good.
It
Oh
was
my!
so
Even
good.
just the opening pages showing like the blackout in Japan. Oh my god.
Just the void in
Mm-hmm.
Shibuya. Oh my god, that's like, we are witnessing some peak shit. Like, it's actually insane how consistent Gege has been throughout the Shibuya arc. Like, it's, oh my god, because this is obviously the official ending of the Shibuya arc, right? This is what ends the arc and what starts the next one, whose name we don't know yet. It's also the first chapter in over a year to not be called Shibuya Incident Part something.
Yep.
And man, what a way to start. Yuta is back, and he is a kind of a changed character, but also not. And it's interesting where he will go. We get like this crazy page of just speech bubbles over Shibuya of like the various official organs trying to figure out what happened and how to proceed. And we get all the like I like how it's structured almost like a newspaper, where you get like just the directives, just the spark notes of what the Society higher ups decided. And pretty much every single one of them is like a huge punch. It's like, oh, Gojo is considered an accomplice in the Shibuya incident. Freeing him is a crime. Yaga will be executed. Yuji will be executed. His executioner will be Yuta. That is peak. That is fantastic. And I love it so, so much. And yeah, that's like my abbreviated version of my my tirade about kinography and rawness.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. Yuta, all of the stuff showing him is really great. He
Uh-huh.
saves that little kid, and he's very nice to him. He's very sweet to him a little bit. A lot of people are wondering about what's going on with Rika and the fact that she shouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little too early to speculate on that because we just need more to go on than him saying her name.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe she's back. Maybe he is capable of creating something that looks like her. Because remember, his technique is the ability to copy techniques. Maybe he like
Mm-hmm.
found a way to generate some Shikigami that looks like her. I don't know. There's a million things it could be, or she could just be back and he just retconned Zero. All of these things are
Mm-hmm.
possible. We don't have enough to go on though. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's nice that like the way that it was phrased from a lot of, and this is part of the problem with the tidbits of information leakage that come out prior to chapters, is like the way it was phrased early was that Yuta was in general agreement that Yuji should be executed because he's bad, which is not at
Mm-hmm.
all what actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
He,
It's kind of.
because I don't find like the thought that he would execute Yuji because Sukuna's spooky, it feels so out of character for Yuta. Whereas him saying he seriously injured my friend, I'm gonna kill him, is 100 million% in character for Yuta.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
really liked his introduction. I did not know that Inumaki lost an arm, and I don't know why they're saying that Yuji cut it off. I don't know if that's a
Mm-hmm.
translation issue or if that's actually if he literally means Yuji himself or Sukuna in his body cut it off himself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we'd have seen that if it happened.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
I've
I
seen some people say that that's maybe a lie by the higher ups, that they cut it off specifically and are banking on the fact that Toge can't actually really tell anyone, because most of people's understanding of what he says is basically just based on interpreting, whatever
his
they can
yeah,
feel out of it.
or even
Yeah, so
he could have just been injured, and they're like, oh, Yuji Itadori did this, Sukuna did this.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
because someone pointed out that between Yuji seeing Toge arrive on the battlefield and Yuji going Sukuna mode, a whole hour passes. So it seems kind of weird that Toge would still be in that same area an hour later, when his main job will just kind of be there and round people up. Um, so yeah, I'm interested to see where that goes.
Also,
Um,
Sukuna, when Yuji was in his like Sukuna freakout mode, Sukuna made a
mhm,
point not to actually attack anyone that was like from Yuji's group. The most he did was tell them like, "You better not move away from this meteor," and then they didn't, and he just left them alone.
yeah,
He had his
exactly.
hands full saving Megumi anyway, so I find it very unlikely that Sukuno's actually the one that took off Toge's arm.
Yeah, yeah. It feels like the setup for a betrayal arc. But then again, I wonder I wonder if Yuta is even buying that, because he seems so disillusioned with the higher ups. He's like, you don't really need to thank me, just tell me what you want. Like, it almost makes me wonder if he even believes it, or if there's something else going on. Um, because Yuta's character already, like in the main series now, feels really fascinating to me. The juxtaposition between his sort of kind of haggard, cold demeanor compared to like the very warm sort of faces he makes towards the girl he saves.
Mm-hmm.
It just immediately sets him up as someone I want to know more of, right? And especially I want to know what happened in that year between Jujutsu Kaisen Zero and now. Um, so yeah, I really hope we get to see more, and I'm assuming we will, because this is kind of looking like this will be the main conflict of this new arc.
At least the early portions of it. And I'm interested to see how they're gonna. I mean, if we assume Maki is dead, we don't know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that leaves Toge, Panda, and that's it, I guess. Of the
Yeah.
one, because Gojo's gone too. Of the people who would stick up for Yuji to Yuta, I wonder how they're gonna have to frame that interaction. Because I don't see Yuta being like, "No, shut up, idiot! I'm gonna kill him," even though you're telling
Mm-hmm.
me he didn't do this. But at the same time, like, are they gonna send all of these characters on the run with Yuji at the same time? What are they gonna do? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many questions going into it, and it sucks that there's so many questions going into it because it's not in the magazine next week.
It isn't.
No, I just saw on Twitter a couple hours ago. It was a last minute break announcement. It'll come back on February 14th.
Uh,
I know. I'm sorry to break it to you live on the air.
next week is filler. All of next week is just filler content in real life. I can't believe this.
Real life doesn't start again until February 14th.
I can't believe Studio Pierrot would do this.
Oh, it's too
That's
cold for it even to be our beach episode, so it's just gonna be garbage.
Is it going to be another joke chapter though, or is it just nothing?
It didn't say. It just said that the
Okay.
story will continue in February 14th.
I, I take it back. This chapter sucks. 1 out of 10. Made me excited for things I have to wait for. I don't
I
like
hate
it.
waiting.
I want it now, Gege.
I
God damn
want it
it.
now. God damn it.
But yeah, like I'm super excited for what we're getting here. Also, um, I also think it's so funny because last chapter ended with like Ghetto unleashing like a horde of demons on our main cast, and this one just like cold cuts to like the aftermath, which is really cool. I wonder what probably is going to be the case is that, and I'm kind of while I'm talking right now, I'm convincing myself. I'm kind of the belief that in like the chaos of the demons, Yuki will have snatched Yuji and Todo and maybe Choso and just kind of ran for it because she probably knows about what's going on behind the scenes. She seems like the type of girl to be savvy as to what the higher ups are doing. Because if you spend your entire life evading Jutsu Society, you probably know a lot about it and how it works. So yeah, I'm wondering if like that unleashing of the demons or the curses is going to be the incident that has allowed Yuji to escape, and we'll learn about that next time.
Yeah, I could see
Because
that. It's like, I don't know. This chapter is really good at setting up what's coming. And
Mhm.
I get really great, like, I love when there's just little stuff like Yuta saving that girl. You know?
Mhm.
I like that kind of thing. But damn, I had so many questions from the end of Shibuya that have not been answered in here at all. And
Yeah,
I just,
yeah.
my stress continues for another fucking week.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 week. Damn it! I forgot already. Uh,
Ah,
okay, well let's talk about
revenge.
these decrees here. So, number one, Geto's survival has been confirmed, and he's been sentenced to death again. Okay,
Mhm.
whatever. They were gonna fight him anyway. Number two, Gojo is totally actually a bad guy, and if you free him, you're a criminal. That seems
Mhm.
so irrelevant.
I don't know. It seems like just further set up into like the next arc, which will probably be clear Yuji's name somehow, fight off Yuta, and somehow free Gojo. Because once you free Gojo, it literally doesn't matter that it's a crime,
Right, that's what it's like.
right?
Are they just trying to scare people? Like, oh, if you set him free, you're in trouble because what are you going to do about it?
Hmm.
Once he's out,
Yeah,
he's out. Do something about it. And so
yeah.
it's just I don't know. Then we have Principal Yaga. They're saying they're gonna kill him, um,
Hmm.
for inside. Which I guess I wonder if that's gonna happen. Yaga seems like a character who could feasibly die here.
Yeah,
Like we know
yeah. I
Yuji's
mean,
not gonna get killed, right?
hmm
Obviously, the story
yeah.
would be over if Sukuna was like, ah, shit, I've only got 5 fingers left. Yuji's dead. We know that Yuji's not going to die here. Yaga, we don't know that. And he's not a major enough character that I would think, like, oh, he's safe. We could get, like, a kind of gross execution here. Like, because this whole thing is obviously a power grab. I mean, this is the higher-ups like, oh, nice. Gojo's out of the way. Now we can take over the Tokyo branch and be, make sure there's no one to challenge our power at all. There's no political adversary anymore. You got to think doing something like executing the principal is going to make all of the Tokyo students very unlikely to follow you.
Yes. I also, this popped into my head. I wonder if we're going to see Hakari, because he's the other student aside from Yuta who hasn't appeared, or now he's the only one who hasn't appeared. And if they're executing Yaga, I'm sure Hakari would have something to say on that.
Right.
Because since he is part of the school. So yeah, I wonder where this is going. But again, I suppose reestablishing the balance of power is as quote-unquote easy as unsealing Gojo. Because he is literally a walking power balancer. As in, the balance shifts into whichever side has him.
Right.
So yeah, I'm wondering what they will do with it. I'm kind of excited if we do get Yaga's death. I'm kind of interested to see what a Jujutsu execution even looks like, because that might like even raise the stakes a bit further. It might give us like a palpable thing we're trying to save Yuji from, right? If it's some like horribly grotesque shit where like, any memories of you are erased or shit like that. They get fucking bleached, right?
Right.
I think that might be interesting.
Yeah, I don't imagine we're gonna get a rescue the principal arc. I mean, maybe.
No, not that. I wouldn't say that.
Well, no, I don't mean from Europe. I just mean like in general. I don't think we're gonna get one. So I would imagine any way that he's gonna frame it is gonna be very dark. I mean, because like you said, that we don't know how they're executed. We know that you have to kill them with cursed energy. So someone's gonna kill them with something. Some sort of technique. It's not going to be like, oh, they cut his head off with a sword. Like, you have to kill a sorcerer with cursed energy so they don't come back as a curse, basically. So someone is going to use some kind of fucked up technique on him to kill him. And I mean, we might literally, like, there's a decent chance the next chapter is literally going to be like, oh, it's been 2 weeks. Here's the characters all feeling shitty. And the chapter ends with them having to watch Yaga get executed.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible, because unless we are getting that Yaga's rescue arc that you mentioned, I kind of don't see a point in postponing showing that. Because it seems like because that's the thing. It was one of the things I was not expecting. Like, for some reason, I had never considered Yaga to be important enough to get an execution.
Right, because, I mean, he's kind of been a nothing up to this point.
Yeah, he's just a guy who showed up to test Yuji that one time, and that was kind of it.
And he's Panda's daddy.
Yeah, he's Panda's daddy. And I wonder what else we'll see of him. Also, man, I already cannot wait for Yuji and Yuta to meet, because both the combat and the dialogue are going to be on point for that. Almost definitely.
There have been so many memes already of how Yuji is going to brother him. It's gonna trick him.
Oh, what if? Oh my god! What if Yuji's memory manipulation activates, but Rika or whatever is protecting Yuta at the moment steps in, because she's like almost an automatic protection for him, and that's how like that whole shebang gets like further developed.
It's possible.
Either that, or I've also seen someone say, what if Yuta tries to copy Yuji's abilities and ends up copying the memory manipulation? What then? Yeah, just a whole lot of interesting directions where it can go. And I think that's really the big strength of Jujutsu Kaisen. It sets up all these different paths it can go down, and all of them are pure gasolina.
Like 100,000,000%.
Yeah, it's such a weird strength to have as well. I can't remember the last time I felt I think maybe the last time I felt like this about a season was Attack on Titan when it started getting real good. Like when we got to the good part of Attack on Titan, that's when it felt like, okay, no matter where this goes down, it'll be great. And it's kind of the same thing here. It's like I don't know which direction this will go, but I can almost not imagine a version where I'm not happy with it because these characters are just so good, and I trust Gege at this point almost completely because he's been just absolutely nailing it for 137 chapters, like no misses. So yeah, very interested to see where this goes. And of course, this chapter comes in the wake of the newest interview with Akutami, which
Yes.
yielded a couple of interesting morsels of information. Probably the most important one being, I don't care who dies as long as the story is interesting. I will do my own thing, which
Yes. So,
that is interesting.
if you think anybody is safe, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, you have to filter that through the lens of, okay, he's still contracted by Shonen Jump, and they still want their bag at the end of the day, and you get the bag through character merchandise, and merchandising dead characters doesn't tend to work.
Right.
But I'm saying your girl Nobara ain't looking good for her.
Hey, 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 hey. Let's stow that talk, all right? She's fine.
That's all I'm saying, bro. You might want to get the tissues ready.
She's fine. The next chapter is going to start with her in a bad mood with an eye patch on, guaranteed.
Well, you heard him, folks. Give Zen your energy.
She's fine. She's fine.
She's fine. Hashtag she's fine.
Hashtag she's fine.
Can we
Everybody
get
get
that?
that trending, please.
Yeah, please, everyone comment. No matter what you write, just please start the comment with hashtag she's fine.
Everything
Actually,
is
this
okay.
actually this is also pretty good because now we know who will have watched the video to this point.
Whoever hashtags their comment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if you hashtag your comment with hashtag she's fine, we'll know you're a dedicated true fan, and you will get, I don't know, good karma. We
Yeah,
can't really offer
you'll
you
get an
anything.
extra thumbs up.
Yes, that you can't see because we don't do face cam, but
Correct.
I promise we'll thumbs you up.
Yeah, well, you'll have to take our word for it, but have we ever lied to you before?
Absolutely never, except that one time we put One Piece in the thumbnail.
That's still our best performing video, I think.
Of
I think we
course.
technically clickbaited there.
You know what? There's a reason everyone clickbaits. It fucking works. Like the important thing is to do it in a way that doesn't degrade your or your audience's dignity. You know.
Yeah, that counts.
And okay, aside from that death thing, the interview also yielded a couple of interesting things about Akutami's life and everything. For example, the fact that he almost dropped the idea of Jujutsu Kaisen after he finished Zero and moved on to making a J-pop series.
Yep, an idol manga, which, whew.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad his editor stopped him.
Yeah, man, imagine the alternate universe where that's what happened.
Oh my god. I almost can't imagine because Giga's art style seems perfect for Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, just the kind of story that Jujutsu Kaisen is. I
Yeah,
cannot say that I could see anyone in Jujutsu Kaisen being a pop idol.
I don't know. Yes, maybe Nobara and Mei they kind of have that energy.
Maybe. I don't know,
Yeah.
man.
Like Mei as a like goth idol, that would kind of go crazy, not gonna lie.
Okay, I guess I could see that. I guess I could see that.
Yeah, the Queen of Crows screaming into a mic while her brother's cheerleading in the background.
All right, I guess I
Oh,
could see that.
oh god, I just remembered her relationship with her brother, and now
Yeah,
I
you had to
don't
bring
like it
that up
anymore.
again, didn't you?
Okay, Gege might miss sometimes.
That a rare L. Rare
Very rare.
Akutami L.
Yeah. Also, we found out that Akutami is a man, which again kind of wasn't our business, but it's nice to now know
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but
what to
like
talk.
now we know, so I don't have to feel uncomfortable using pronouns accidentally.
Yeah, exactly. Like now I can like confidently say he because that is how it how that is, and I also think it's kind of cute how he was like, oh yeah, I know that my gender was a big like thing people were curious about, so I kept it a secret until now
On
because I kind of
purpose,
wanted
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Although I saw a bunch of people be like really disappointed that it isn't a woman. And on one hand, I kind of get it because, like, oh, it's a shame that the face of Jump is not a woman because female mangaka are already rare in the shonen sphere. So that would have been cool. But at the same time, I saw some really weird comments where it's like, oh, Jujutsu Kaisen's dropped. And it's like, okay,
Whatever.
sure.
Bye.
Bye, I guess.
See
Like, if
ya.
that's something to drop it over, okay. Um, and my favorite bit of the interview, the reason Jujutsu Kaisen girls are not sexualized is because Akutami's parents read Jujutsu
That
Kaisen.
is
And
my favorite piece of any interview with any creator ever. Is like, yeah, I can't give my characters rocking titties because my mom reads this.
but I also like the second part where it's like, and I can't make him too cute because cute characters annoy me.
Yeah, so he's like, so he basically was like, well, I can't give her just massive milkers because my mom will get mad. And I don't really want to make them too cutesy because that shit's aggravating. So I guess I have no choice but to make them really, really good. My only option is to make them incredible. So I'm going to do that.
Akutami got bullied into writing good characters. Yeah, I
He
hate to
did.
see it.
He got gaslit by his parents into writing an incredible female cast.
I mean, okay, to be fair, I believe he didn't sexualize anyone in Zero. I don't believe he sexualized anyone in his one shot mecha number something or whatever it is. So I'm assuming it is just a general disposition he has, and that was just a funny comment.
But how do you make an idol manga with nobody sexualized?
Well, actually, that opens up an interesting door because maybe his whole goal was to address the, objectification of idols in the industry.
Maybe.
It's not impossible.
He also loves Bleach, though.
He does, which, good taste. Also, we now know it from the horse's mouth. You can stop saying it. The uniforms and the character trio, the main trio, is inspired by Naruto.
Dun dun.
We do know that now. Like, what a surprise. One of the best-selling manga of all time influenced another manga that came afterwards. No way.
Yeah, shocking. Revelations,
shocking.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we may have lost him for a second. That tends to happen every now and again. Are you back?
What? Yeah, was I gone?
You went. You blinked out for a second. Now you blinked back.
Shit.
So I think you're good. So if you were saying something over the past couple seconds, then repeat yourself.
Okay, yeah, I was just saying that we'll have to wait for the rest of the interview to become public because the second half is due in late February.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know about you. I'm looking forward to that interview with him and Tite Kubo together. That looks very interesting.
And they're also going to draw each other's favorite characters. If we get Toji and Kenpachi, bro.
I'm trying to think who you think it's going to be. Everyone's automatically assuming Kubo's is going to be Gojo.
I mean, okay, that's kind of the boring assumption because everyone's
is Gojo. Exactly.
Yeah, I haven't met anyone who dislikes Gojo.
Except for Akutami. Some people...
Yes. Also, apparently Akutami dislikes Yuji too.
Yeah, I did see that part where he said he doesn't like Yuji very much.
Yeah. Well, if that means that Yuji gets more consequences and punishment, sure. But yeah, everyone likes Gojo except people who force themselves to not like him because everyone's got to be special. I am kind of banking on Toji personally. He just seems because Toji seems like a Bleach character now that I've read a decent chunk of Bleach.
Yeah, I could see Toji. I'm also kind of thinking it might end up being Sukuna.
Yeah, that too.
I could see Sukuna, I could see Geto, and I could see Megumi.
I could also maybe see Sukuna's original form from the color page, or that form that we saw. Yeah, that seems like something people might go.
Yeah. As for favorite Bleach character from Akutami, man, I don't know.
Well, we know I think he loves Nanami. I think he really likes Nanami because every time a popularity poll came out, he suggested people vote for Nanami instead of Gojo. Yeah, if you
Fucking
buy the
hater.
volumes, if you buy the volumes, the popularity polls and the comments on it are included. And the first one after was over and Gojo won, the author comment is, "Thank you for voting. Here's a bit of advice for next time. Do not vote for Satoru Gojo. Vote for Nanami instead." So yeah, maybe he likes characters like Nanami. Now I don't know if there's someone in later Bleach
Byakuya
who,
has some Nanami energy to him.
yeah, I mean, Byakuya isn't quite as goofy as Nanami is, you know, most
No,
of the time. Like Nanami is kind of serious on the surface, but when you actually look at what the fuck he's saying and doing, most of the time he's actually kind of a goofy guy.
well, Nanami is like very straight-faced goofy, but Byakuya is too. So you're in the Soul Society, so you're still in where he's in like strict douchebag mode. But
Yeah.
when he lightens up a little bit, he gets very silly with a straight face.
Okay.
Like a lot
Okay.
of. Do you remember in early Bleach when Rukia is drawing pictures for Ichigo to help him understand, and they're all like shitty bunnies?
Yes. Yes.
Byakuya also draws that way,
Oh,
and he
wonderful.
he straight face thinks that his art is really good. Like
Great.
it doesn't even cross his mind that it's not.
Aw.
So I could see that being something that that's a very silly with a straight face kind of thing. Also, I just want
Yeah.
to see Akutami draw Byakuya, so that's me
Yeah.
justifying it to myself.
I was about to say, if you get Kubo Gojo and Akutami Byakuya in the same week, I might have to like resuscitate you.
I won't be on the show because I'll be in the hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll
I'll
be
have to.
a one episode with just you because I'll be unable to function for at least a week after I get that.
I'll have to fly over and give you CPR because
We'll be
especially obviously
recording it
no.
in the hospital. It's just gonna be you talking to me comatose.
Yeah. It's me doing like the fucking chest compressions to the beat of Staying Alive, and then we get copyright struck, and that's how the series ends. Canon. That is
The
canon.
last thumbnail is just Shonen and Chill number whatever with just my hospital bed on the thumbnail.
It's like Zen face reveal on the podcast. It's just a picture of you comatose and me like doing the peace sign over you. Like one of those really disrespectful selfies.
Oh my
um,
god.
I mean, if I were the only one who could give you CPR, would you want that?
Absolutely.
Good.
We gotta keep the you gotta keep the ship alive.
That is true, and I am trained in that, so
Well, there you
I
go.
can actually do
See,
it.
and you're talented. It's perfect.
Well, more like I had to practice it a bunch of times, and then a bunch of times again, and then again, because God, military service here in Switzerland is literally just you go on holiday for a week and repeat everything you've already learned, so you don't forget. So,
That
man,
sounds fun.
hey, I gotta do it until I'm like 50.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Loving that.
Uh, hey, man, it's better than actually having to go anywhere and do things, right?
That's true.
Mm. But okay, do we have anything else on Jujutsu Kaisen?
Just sadness that it's not going to be out next week, and we have to be miserable
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, that is because you said it's a like a last minute break announcement, eh?
Yeah, it was just a tweet that just said like as a last minute announcement right now, it's gonna not be out next week. So,
Huh,
uh,
that's weird.
yeah.
That usually happens when people are sick.
I mean, it is. Well, actually, I guess I don't know what season it is in Japan, but he could be sick. I don't
Well,
know.
well, I think Japan is in the northern hemisphere. They have the same seasons as you and me, I believe.
Well, there you
I think
go. It's
they're
cold.
yeah,
Fucking
it's
cold.
cold. It's the flu season. Um, uh, you know, hopefully they have not been out too much and not been getting exposed to the flu because these days you can get exposed to other stuff, which
Yes.
uh, yeah, yeah, it's gonna be interesting because I was thinking because like the whole COVID situation has been referenced now in a couple of manga, like in some joke chapters in Jujutsu Kaisen they've referenced it. A lot of like the volume extras also for MHA will probably include comments on it. I mean, this is just one vestige of it, but it's going to be interesting, like looking back on it once all of this is hopefully over, how this will have like left its footprint and everything,
The
right?
number of times I've said once all of this is over in the past year.
It is sounding like once Hunter x Hunter comes back.
Yeah. Once we get the next chapter of Hunter x Hunter.
I swear to God, if we get the next chapter of Hunter x Hunter before this stupid virus gets gone, uh, I will be unhappy. I mean, I'll be happy that there's more Hunter x Hunter, I guess. Like, that's cool for people who care. Oh, man. At the very least, we have peak fiction to carry us through it.
Yeah, we got. Thank God for that. Except for next week. God damn it.
Oh my God.
Don't you know you're not allowed to write peak fiction and take breaks? It's not okay.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't believe that. I can't believe you have to tell me that, Zen. I'm gonna be real with you.
I know.
Hurt.
I feel so bad having to have burst that bubble on the air.
That hurt. That really hurt. Basically now, every time this week something shitty happens to me, I'm just gonna be like, "Damn you, Akutami!"
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is. Akutami, damn it, you've cursed this whole week.
Oh my God!
Week of misery coming up.
They cursed us.
They finally did it.
The true like Jujutsu Kaisen chapter next week is, the curses we accumulate along the way.
I like to think that he wrote this chapter and he ended it with, Yuta saying, "I will kill Yuji Itadori," and he was like, "You know what? Taking a break next week." I'm not writing next week.
Yeah, I'm just chilling.
I'm gonna just chill next week.
Yeah, I mean, I also think he's definitely earned a break, even if the only reason, or quote unquote only reason, is literally just I need a break. Which it's a hell industry. Absolutely take a break, Akutami, right? It's always incredible when you hear these stories of mangaka who can just pump out chapters and just without break, without messing up the release schedule. And those stories sound impressive, but then when you think about it, it's kind of like, wow, you were denied holiday for 15 years, basically. Because even when you do get a week off, it's not really a week off. You're just kind of working to, recuperate.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of the thing where like when you're so worn down that time off doesn't even an average amount of time off doesn't help anymore. Because you're so worn down, you need extra time just to get back up to baseline.
Yeah. That's.
And we could roll into a capitalist rant about how the capitalist take on art is to mass produce it as fast as possible until the artist is ground up into dust like freaking Togashi. So
yeah. That is true, but I feel like we've kind of ridden that horse a couple of times now in this show. Not gonna lie. That I ever get tired of.
It's our go-to.
Yeah, like not that I ever got tired to shit on capitalism. Like, eat the rich. Elon Musk, if you're watching, because I know you're watching, go fuck yourself. But it's one of those things, right? As you become an adult, it's so systematic of a problem, you almost can't do anything about it. And so all you can really do is just inject random conversations with rants about it, because that's like
pretty much.
Yeah, that's the only agency you really have in this system. Which is also, I suppose, why these whole like GameStop stories feel so refreshing and cool. Because just regular ass people made a couple of billionaires cry live on CNN.
Oh my God, I literally shit myself laughing at that dude crying. Like, you're sitting there weeping because you didn't get all of the money in the planet this one time.
It's like, oh, the idea of a fair share is a bullshit concept made to attack the wealthy. Like, yes, attack the wealthy. You go, my man.
Oh yeah. The guy, what did he say? That it was like bias against the wealthy, and I'm like, yeah, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
Congrats, you got it.
Like that fucking Simpson meme where it's like, I can't believe you've done this. Have you any idea what you've caused? All of these.
We lost him again. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Right in the middle of his joke, too. That's devastating. Oh,
I don't
no.
know. These are
Oh, he's
these are
back.
also the,
He's back. We
oh
lost you
yeah.
again.
I was happens. I'm sorry. Like to those of you who don't know, I build a PC, and of course, my luck with technology is always I get the weirdest problems. So my motherboard has like a problem with the Wi-Fi thingy. It's I hope I can get like an actual Ethernet in the new place. But no, what I was just saying is, fuck the rich, basically. Like shit like this always brings out also like the weird rich people protectors online who are
Well, that's
like
inevitable.
convinced, yeah, who are like convinced that one day they'll be millionaires too, and that's why they have to protect the rights of the millionaires today. It's like, oh my god, bro. Like Elon Musk was born into wealth and his dad owns emerald mines. Stop buying the bullshit story about how they're self-made and built all their wealth in a garage. Like the
Yeah, it's
garage
it's
was
very difficult to explain to people that like if you have wealth, it makes it easier for you to take those risks and like become quote unquote self-made. Like Elon Musk would never have to fear about like, oh, if I try this and fail, I just die, I guess. Because he's just like, oh, I'll
Mhm.
just get some more money. Like,
Yeah.
and if you think that's a good thing, where like, oh, anybody in the world can, mortgage their home and then take, out a loan to try to get an idea popular and then become a millionaire, is that like a society you want to live in? Where the
Mhm.
only way to get out of abject poverty by comparison is to risk everything, and then if you lose, you just are homeless?
Yeah, I mean it's just this weird conception that you somehow have to earn your right to live at any cost necessary. And it's like, no, you earned your right to live the moment you were born.
Yeah, that's
And
another thing
any
too, is like so many people, I don't want to get into too many things other than capitalism, but you get a lot of people who are like, everyone has the right to live, but you don't have the right to food, water, or shelter. And I was like, but that's living.
yeah,
How can you believe in a right to life, but not a right to be able to sustain it?
yeah, it's like it's just this weird conception that you need to be productive and you need to produce and contribute to society, not to, have access to anything exceptional, just for the base needs you need to survive day in, day out. And that is fundamentally wrong.
Yeah, it's
Like,
immoral is like the nicest way I can put it. For one
yeah,
person to have like made a website 20 years ago and be like, "Oh, I'm the richest man in the world now." Whereas other people work 90-hour weeks at like four different jobs just to not live. Like
mhm,
it's just gross.
yeah. I mean, I think we had this discussion before when people say stuff like, "Oh, how is capitalism amoral?" Simple. The end result of capitalism that it strives towards is to produce millionaires and billionaires. The very existence of billionaires in a world where people starve is, by definition, amoral. Every single breath Elon Musk takes while he is the richest man on earth is a moral crime. Therefore, capitalism is an amoral system. Like
Bingo.
it's not that complicated.
It's
But the
yeah,
problem is that
it's just and
the
it's hard,
problem is
and
in
I
order
don't
to
blame people for not getting it because I think it's like sometimes I think people think I come off like, "What are you, stupid? Just know that it sucks." But like I understand not understanding that because you grew up your whole life with propaganda laser beamed into your eyes that it's the only
Mhm.
way to live. But like it's not, and you should want better for both you and your loved ones.
Mhm. Yeah,
And even
that's
for
the
people you don't
problem.
even know. Because even if you don't love this person, they don't deserve to die because they don't like whatever job they have to do.
Yeah, that's the fundamental problem, right? You have to cut through literal centuries of narratives in order to get to this point. Like capitalism and its many vestiges are so deeply embedded in so many societies nowadays that it's almost impossible to really reach people who have not reached that conclusion by themselves yet. And I think, people like Musk, and, we are firing at Musk, and I'm not sorry about that because he could literally fix poverty, but he doesn't. Um, people like Musk, who parade themselves of these self-made, people who got to where they are through their ingenuity and perseverance, are actively keeping that myth alive, that idea that any one of us at any point could become a billionaire if you just try hard enough. Harsh reality, no. Most people are infinitely closer to being homeless at any given point than they are to even becoming a millionaire, let alone a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, shit just sucks, I
Shit
guess.
sucks all the time. I mean, you think like there's for someone you never know, right? What anyone's really capable of. You could have someone who has just a gift for science and math, and they can't apply it or really contribute to the world in any meaningful way because they spend all day every day desperately trying not to die. Like
Yeah.
people always point to this, like, if you took away, housing, food, and water from stuff that you could get, if you could get it for free, no one would work because you wouldn't need to work to live. But it's like, but people don't just like idle in their own like filth. People want to do things. They want to experience things. And if you give people the time to do the things they want to do, you'll find that a lot of stuff gets better. People will contribute to the world in ways they want to contribute to it. Like,
Yeah.
you can
Like,
be super interested in history or science or criminology or fiction, but you can't apply it ever because you're dead tired from just trying not to die.
yeah, and then then comes up the argument of, oh, but who's going to do the ugly jobs, And it's like, you barely pay those who do the ugly jobs a livable wage anyway.
You
So
don't
clearly
hear like, yeah, oh, you mean who's going to be the janitor? Well, the janitor ain't working for rewards right now anyway, bro.
yeah, like, I mean, it's the whole thing, right? The working class is a rhetorical tool at these political levels. It's like, oh, we care so much about the essential workers, and we need to force them to work during these horrible pandemics. Oh, what is this? Livable wages? What are you? Do you want charity? What's your problem? It's like the
Yeah, that
fundamental right of,
whole essential workers thing went right out the fucking window as soon as them making more money became a discussion point. Gone.
yeah, yeah, like the moment you had to do anything other than dumb performative symbolic gestures, suddenly it was just all about people being greedy again and
Mm-hmm.
wanting more money than they deserve. And it's
They're
like,
greedy and they don't deserve the money and they're low skill, and it's like, okay, well, 6 months ago we were talking about how if we didn't have them, the entire world would have shut down.
yeah,
So,
I mean,
maybe you should think some shit through a little bit. I don't know. It's very frustrating.
yeah, like a week later they bail out fucking Wall Street people. It's
Yet
like, oh
again.
no, oh no, the common people have started playing the rigged casino better than we have for the last 50 years. Can't have that.
It's evil. It's evil that they managed to just this one time get money.
You know what the ruling class truly should fear, though? Satoru Gojo.
Absolutely, that's true. That is 100% true.
Once we free him,
Once we
as
free Gojo, it's all gonna be better.
we need Bernie Sanders on this. Mr. Sanders, what's your take on Yuji Itadori's execution? Do you think it is humanly justifiable?
I need to see AOC tweeting tonight about repealing the order to keep Gojo sealed.
We're just gonna keep bringing this up, and we're just gonna keep harassing these politicians until they say something.
President Biden, what's your stance on the prison realm?
Oh no!
Can we get prison realm reform?
Don't say that when his vice president is Kamala Harris. The prison queen.
She's gonna walk out after we ask, wearing Ghetto's full outfit.
No. Why does this always happen, Zach? It's really funny though how politicians like AOC and Sanders are so popular even outside the US. Like here in Europe, we love Sanders. He's like our favorite guy. And it's like, why can't you guys just get him into a position of more power? Like,
Well,
why?
because a lot of the old people think that being way behind the advancement of human society is actually good.
Well, that's okay. They're way behind on their advancement, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that. Well, the United States exists in this bubble of we're the greatest nation in the whole world, and no matter what, we are the best. And then the internet happened,
Mm-hmm.
and young people who become exposed to the rest of the world through the internet become gradually deprogrammed from all of the propaganda, all of the, flag worshiping, you could live anywhere in the world, but you lived in America. God chose you to have a good life shit that you get fed your whole life when you're a child. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you realize, oh, it sucks here actually in comparison. But like old people don't do that. Old people don't go
Yeah.
online and go and look at how cheap medicine is in Europe. They go online and look at like Ben Shapiro talk about how actually everything sucks everywhere else.
And
Except
they go on,
the only place that's good is America for conservatives.
yeah. They go and read fucking Ian Chong's tweets about fucking America despite him not living there.
Yeah, so like
Jesus.
remember I don't know if this happened to you when you were young, but it was a big thing for me was that like exposure to video games and media would like mess with kids, right? Like that's it. It
Mm-hmm.
would ruin kids' lives. That's what's actually happened to all the old people in America when they started going on the internet. Just fucking
That's true.
they weren't like they weren't able to handle it. So now they're all fucking crazy brainwashed like radicals, which is what they said would happen to us. And here we are just like hey, could everyone have enough money to not die? And then they're like, oh, I'm sorry, you want America to burn to the ground by paying people money to not die?
The, the famous the famous American the classic American values of just letting other people fucking rot. Like here's the thing that takes me out. So here in Switzerland, we have a calling them organization is almost too much. It's a group of people that is called the Fraternity of the Oath, which is the original name for Switzerland, and it's a group dedicated to keeping Swiss history and Swiss nationalism alive. And usually, you'd think these people would be like horrible racists because let's face it, that's what nationalist organizations are a lot of the time. And these people are like, they're weird, but they're not horrible, from what I know. And so I'm faced with this conundrum where the single most nationalist organization in Switzerland is still less nationalist and less like brainwashed than the average American YouTube commenter I get on my videos that call me a commie spy when I say something negative about America in my videos. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so weird. Like it's
Yeah,
such a disconnect.
people don't like. I think especially in Europe, there's a tendency to not realize just how weird America is. Like when throughout my entire schooling life, you get in like serious trouble if you don't say the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag every
Yeah.
day. And
Yeah,
all
that
this kind of stuff. And it's like, America then will point the finger at like North Korea or whatever and be like,
mhm.
"Wow, you guys act like this? You have people that worship your leader like a god? You're crazy." And then we have a bunch of people attack our capital so Trump can be president
Yeah.
when he lost.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you mentioned the pledge because that's actually like one of the big things that here in Europe people are always very incredulous about because that does not happen anywhere here. Even in like the most traditionalist countries, like the Maltese, which are like the most traditional country in Europe, Malta, even they don't do that. And like it's almost unimaginable. So you went through school and every morning you had to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Yeah, that you start every school day that way.
Jesus Christ.
And some people have said, "Oh, my teachers didn't make me do it or whatever," but every school day, that's what they do at the beginning of the day. You sit in your homeroom and you stand up and you put your hand over your heart and you say that you swear allegiance to America forever.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And when I was in school, I've had other people say, that they didn't ever punish us, but when I was in school, if you didn't do it, you got in trouble.
Jesus. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's good. It's good stuff. It's really great system we have.
So so unrelated, I have a second bed. Uh it's actually lying right behind me. So things never get too crazy.
The ship is going full speed ahead now.
Well, I hope the ship you mean is your ship across the Atlantic.
Well, I'm middle class, so I can't afford a ship across the Atlantic. They'd be like, I'm sorry.
Uh that's
You
fair.
don't.
That's
Also,
fair.
I don't think you guys are letting us in because we all have COVID over here.
That's true, but I mean, we're not doing much better. Germany isn't letting us in anymore.
Oh, okay. So we're all just everyone's fucking up now.
Oh my god, our healthcare system fucking collapsed, so we're in deep shit now
Oh,
because it's been. I mean, we have decent healthcare, especially compared to you guys, but
well, that's not a bar, but yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like we have decent healthcare, but the problem is that it was a system that was already overworked, and so this virus hit, and they were like, "Oh, we can't do this," and then uh, our council of leaders was like, "No, we don't need to do anything too drastic. Like, what about the economy?" And it's like,
Hey, that's what ours say too. Ours say,
yeah,
hey, I think old people should be willing to die so that we can still make money.
yeah, and I mean, with us, it was even.
That
I don't
sounds
know
like I'm
how.
being facetious and like I'm being a shithead. That's actually what they said.
I know. I saw the articles.
Yeah, there's one dude, there's one like I think he was a governor or something. I don't remember what he was in Texas, and he was like, "Yeah, I think that if you ask old people, they would say, yeah, I'm willing to die so that my children can go back out and have an economy." And by have an economy, he means make 7.25 an hour.
Yeah, exactly. But like here, it's even worse because we are among the wealthiest countries in the world because we kind of did that thing in World War II where we stole everyone's money while everyone was busy killing each other. And so we're sitting on that whole fucking moral time bomb. But fundamentally, we have a lot of money here. So the idea that the economy could crumble in Switzerland is nonsensical. And still, that was the idea behind not closing down as quickly as they could have. And the result now is that, we don't have enough vaccines. We don't have enough organizations for this. And yeah, sh- shit's bad.
Shit bad.
Shit,
Yep.
shit is bad. Yeah. Um, you know, since we're talking about like national differences, like Switzerland is a more nationalist country than maybe most of its neighbors, but that's because you have the Italians who are just kind of they're very chill. You have the Germans who are not allowed to be nationalist anymore.
Well,
Um,
that's fair.
yeah. You have France, which it's only united in the fact that it hates everyone and everyone hates it. Um, and then you have Austria, which I don't know what they're doing. I don't understand their accent. Uh, so across that sort of sea of neighbors, Switzerland is very nationalist. Like we do still harken back to our roots a lot, just because our history is so particular. With us having been, the mercenary nation that just kind of dedicated itself to warfare for a long time, and then was like, from today onwards, I will be a banker. And then we were bankers for most of the rest of the history. And it's a particular space, but still, even in that space, hearing stuff from America always earns the room a lot of like head shakes and like just chills. It just seems so surreal to me, the kind of shit you guys have to deal with over there.
Every day. All right, I hate to interrupt this political powwow, but Jujutsu Kaisen news.
Yeah.
One, Yuji did cut off Inumaki's arm.
Oh, we know that now.
Yes, Sukuna did it.
Okay, where are you
Um,
getting this from?
Chapter 119,
Uh
Sukuna
huh.
unleashes Malevolent Shrine. We see a bunch of humans together saying, "Oh, I'm scared, but don't worry, we don't have to be scared anymore. The megaphone guy is here." And then they all get dissolved by Malevolent Shrine.
Oh,
So
I see.
Sukuna did cut his arm off.
Okay.
That did happen. Second, uh, they have the snippet of Akutami's author comments, and the translations on Twitter prior to the release was, "Please read Volume 0 if you want to learn more about Yuta. because I'm very nervous, making it sound like I'm nervous to bring him out. The official translation is, if you are curious about Yuta Okkotsu, please read Volume 0. He's indecisive, referring to Yuta.
Okay. Interesting.
So that changes a little bit of the... He could just be fucking with us because it is just an author comment. But, that does kind of put a little bit of a slant on it. Like, hey, Yuta isn't totally sold on what he's doing. But we were wrong. He did, in fact, cut his arm off.
Okay. I can't believe we managed to draw out enough political talk for there to be an update on Jujutsu Kaisen.
During the breaking news.
Breaking news. We interrupt the revolution to bring you news. Did Yuji cut off Toge's arm?
Sources say yes. Going to you live at the scene in Shibuya.
Well, not much of a scene left, really.
No, live at the crater in Shibuya.
live at the crater formerly known as Shibuya. Oh man, what a story! What an arc! Like the Shibuya incident is a clean 10. Like,
oh yeah. I mean, I always think
10.
that we didn't put enough emphasis on the fact that Shibuya is over now. And holy shit, what an arc it was.
What an arc it was.
It's been going technically since December of 2019.
Yeah.
And it's just been unbelievable the entire time. Just phenomenal.
Yeah. It's just been pure gas. Like I caught up around halfway through. But man, I've never been not entertained. I've always had a blast, and I've always had my brain working at 110% capacity, trying to understand where this crazy story is going next.
The Shibuya Incident Part 1 released in November 10th of 2019.
Jesus Christ.
And here we are in 20... This is probably, in my opinion, the best long arc I've ever read. To have gone for over a year like this and not had a miss, insane.
That is actually, you know what, Mr. Zenrotto, you might be spitting. Because I am inclined to agree. I can't remember the last time an arc was, what is it, 52 chapters long, 53?
83 to 137. So is that 84?
Yeah.
54.
Well,
54,
yeah,
not
54.
84.
There we go.
54.
Exactly.
Yeah, 54 chapters long.
54 chapter long arc where there wasn't a single chapter that I felt was bad. Yeah, I think you have committed an act that is professionally called spitting.
I did it, guys. I did it. Also, bad news. It's officially confirmed in the Shonen Jump app that the next chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen is coming in 14 days. Officially confirmed in the app itself.
I can't believe you did this.
We've had multiple now news breaks about Jujutsu Kaisen since we started recording.
I'm depressed. Can we talk about how capitalism sucks again? to take my mind off the immensely depressing fact that Jujutsu Kaisen
oh my
is
god.
on break.
Next episode's just gonna be the two of us depressed. Hey man, you wanna talk about this?
Either that or we're gonna be super unhinged. And it'll just be a whatever
it's
episode.
Crazed ranting the whole time.
We're connecting dots with how Elon Musk orchestrated the break in Jujutsu Kaisen because he needed to make sure the stock stayed stable.
They needed to make sure that the Shonen Jump stock didn't take off like GameStop's, so they had to keep Jujutsu Kaisen out of the magazine.
A Tesla drove up to Akutami's house menacingly.
Every time Akutami goes to the window, he looks out and he just sees a Tesla sitting outside in the middle of the night.
With the headlights on, specifically.
And every time they see him look, they turn the headlights off.
They don't need to do all that. They're all spying on us anyway.
That's true. Real. They're all in our phones.
Hey, hi, Mr. FBI agent. Can you tell America to be okay? Thanks.
Hey, Mr. FBI agent, can you get a chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen next week for us?
Mr. FBI agent, can you steal Makutami's manuscripts for us? I'll wear my pretty shirt next time in front of my webcam,
Please.
which will be obviously deactivated from my perspective, but obviously that doesn't matter to you. You can just turn it on. Oh man, we live in a bleak world, but at
Yeah,
least
it's a
we have.
scary place out there, man. Thank God for Jujutsu Kaisen to
Thank
take
God
the
for
edge off.
Akutami. Akutami is like our All Might,
Yeah, he really is the symbol of peace
the symbol of peace,
by
and he does this
ruining
by.
our lives by making us sad every week.
Yeah, he's waging war on us, and that's what brings peace to our hearts. That's like some deep philosophical shit. I should stop studying literature and start studying this instead. Whatever
Yes.
this is. I had to do my study plan today to prepare for the next semester, and God, that shit's awful.
Yeah, that
My
sounds
study plan
awful.
would be my study plan would be so much better if it had Satoru Gojo in it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like this is the natural stopping point.
Yeah,
What do you
we've hit
say?
that point where now we're just like talking. So
I mean, I feel like we have been for a while, but at least we stalled
yeah,
enough
but
for
we
like
lasted
Jujutsu
long
Kaisen
enough to,
news.
yeah, to have the Jujutsu Kaisen breaking news.
All right. In that case, I have nothing else to say. I'm very glad Yuta's back. I'm going to be crying for the next 14 days. And thank you all for listening, as always.
Yep, thank you, of course, everybody, for tuning in. Love you and appreciate you and all that stuff. Make sure to read Jujutsu Kaisen 0 if you haven't, because boy, shit's gonna get real confusing real soon if you don't.
Yeah.
Um,
Make sure to comment with hashtag she's fine.
yes, please comment hashtag she's fine. If you don't, I'm gonna have a breakdown. So I need to know that everyone else agrees with me
Breakdown.
that it's fine. She's fine, God damn it. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
And we will see you guys next week. Even though there's no Jujutsu Kaisen, we'll still show up and be sad.
Yeah, it'll just be the boneless week.
Shonen and chill boneless episode.
Exactly. All right. See y'all.
Bye.